Two-way inside the arc scorer, rugged playmaker, playmaking paint beast, skilled glass cleaner, two-way balance scorer, two-way slashing four, two-way shooter, defensive anchor, versatile paint beast, jack of all trades. Ladies and gentlemen, after a whole year of 99% of players making playmaking shot creators on 2K21 current gen, we have a special treat today. We have the 10 rarest builds on 2K22 current gen, man. I'm not gonna waste any time. All I ask is that you please hit that like button for me. It helps me out a lot. And also, if you are new, make sure you hit that sub button. We're about to hit 1 million subs. Without further ado, I present to you the 10 rarest builds on 2K22 current gen. First up, we have the Jack of All Trades build. Now, this build name is extremely unique and extremely rare, but you've probably heard about it if you're anywhere around the 2K community, because as soon as people found out about this one, it was all over Twitter, Reddit, Google, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, everywhere you looked, you saw this build. All right, now the first thing I'm gonna say about these builds is the fact that on this game, every single build can shoot now. So it's not like 2K21 where, you have to make a play shot basically, otherwise you have a huge disadvantage. A lot of these builds are actually usable. They're not the meta builds, not the most OP builds, but they have extremely rare names, and some of them are actually definitely viable options in the park. Now, right in the beginning of the video, I wanna tell you a couple things. The first thing, I'm just showing you one way to make the build. You can tweak the attributes and still get the name. Some of these you can actually make with different pie charts and still get the name. So you could kind of catfish builds, and people might see the name and think it's one thing, but you made it with a completely different pie chart. So you can mess around and try to find these names. I'm just showing you one way to get the build name. This is the first build, Jack of All Trades. Really cool build name. Build number 2 is called the Versatile Paint Beast, but I want to elaborate a little bit more on what I was just talking about, and that's moving around the attributes. Now, some of these you need specific attribute caps to get the name, but others are not as strict, so you might be able to move a bunch of different attributes around and get way more maybe defensive badges or way more shooting badges. Some of them you can make with no shooting, some of them you can still get the same name and have shooting. So mess around with the build. If you like a build name, mess around with it and see, if you can tweak the build to your liking. I'm just showing you basically one way to make it. I just want to make that very clear. It's not the only way to get these build names. You might like a build name and then be able to make it more towards your style of play. That's all I want to tell you. This build right here, the Versatile Paint Beast, it's basically your typical Paint Beast build. You just tweak the attributes around a little bit and you just get a little bit more of a unique name. So I figured I'd put this in here for anyone that wants to, a typical inside center Paint Beast type of build, long arms, strong in the paint, pure inside center, just so you could, instead of getting the regular Paint Beast name, you could get a Versatile Paint Beast, be a little bit more unique. Let's go to number 3. Next up, we have a two-way inside the arc scorer, one of the longest, coolest, rarest names you're gonna get on this game. And what I really like about this build is it's actually definitely viable and really good on offense. The first thing is you will get pro contact dunks at 99 overall. Also, for your takeover options, you get a ton of different unique options, including post takeover. So you could have a build with contact dunks that could shoot threes, a crazy name like two-way inside the arc scorer, and with post takeover. Just a super unique build. I mean, you have post fade, you have contact dunk, pro contact dunks, not the elite ones, but you have decent playmaking attributes, and you have solid defense in terms of your lateral quickness, perimeter, inside defense, and block, but you don't have any rebounding, which is kind of a downside, but you got to sacrifice something to get the name. You're going 6'6", 265. You're going to leave the default wingspan. Look at the takeover. You get sharp shot, slash, and post takeover, two-way inside the arc score. One of the rarest build names you'll see on 2K22 current gen. Next up at number 4, we have defensive anchor. Now, this build name I believe was in 2K21. I'm not sure if it was current gen, next gen, or both for 21. But after this, I have a bunch of brand new names that are basically we've never seen before. 2K22 current gen is the first time we've seen some of these build names, and we'll get to those right after this. But I wanted to throw in another big man build that you could do instead of having a glass finisher or a paint beast. I've got the Versatile Paint Beast. Now I'm going to throw in this defensive anchor in case you're a big man, but you want something besides the typical big man names. And this build is actually not bad. It's pure red pie chart, so you're going to get a ton of Hall of Fame defensive badges. You're going to be big, you're going to be strong, and we actually put the shooting up, and you might say, well, it's kind of low. It's a 49 or 50 rated 3-ball, but you can hit with that on this game, I promise you, especially because you're going to have a decent amount of shooting badges there. And, if you're just spotting up in the corner or a little bit of pick and pop here or there, you can shoot on this game with basically any shooting rating. It is actually really, really crazy what you can do. We're back on those 2K20 vibes where damn near every single build can shoot. It's not like 21 last year. So all of these builds are definitely viable if you put the shooting up. As you can see, we're going down to 6'9". You're going to go 219 on the weight, max out the wingspan. You get your choice of glass or rim protecting takeover. And then you're going to see you get the name defensive anchor. But as I said, we've seen this name before. So let's get into some rare build names that we have never seen before on 2K until 2K22. The first one we have is a two-way shooter. Now you're going to say, oh, we had this name. No, we had a two-way sharpshooter before. We've never had just a two-way shooter, okay? And this build actually looks like a really, really good option if your friend or your teammate likes to ISO. If you play the twos and your teammate likes to ISO, this is a really, really good build because you can guard the perimeter, you can guard the paint, and you're going to be a knockdown shooter on this build. And actually you can cut out the corner and finish in the paint pretty decently. As you can see, you get a decent amount of finishing on this build, but the shooting is definitely going to be one of the strongest assets of this build. And then the second part, obviously it's a two-way shooter, so you got the shooting, and then the second part is the defense. You're maxing out almost everything on the defensive end here, just a little bit low on the offensive rebounding, but everything else is basically maxed out. You're going 6'8", right? 6'8", lower the weight down so you get a little bit more speed. You're gonna max out the wingspan, which is gonna increase your defense even more, and it's gonna allow you to protect the paint better if you have to switch, you know, if you're guarding the big man maybe. Like I said, it's a perfect build to play in the corner if your friend likes to ISO on like a playmaking glass cleaner or a two-way slash and playmaker or something like that, and you just need to be able to shoot and play defense. This is a perfect build for that role. We're gonna take a break from the new build names and go back to a build name that we saw, but we didn't see it last year. We saw this back in 2K20, and it's called a Playmaking Paint Beast. This build name was not really popular throughout the year. It was always the Playmaking Glass Cleaner, but towards the end of the year, people started to make these Playmaking Paint Beast builds, and it's a really cool name because it's like you're a paint beast that can ISO basically, and you're gonna see that's exactly what this build is. I believe there's another way to make this build where you can put the shooting up, but this build, this version of the build that I'm showing you is just pure inside. But I mean, you could damn near play like you could play like a regular paint beast, but when you get the ball, you're able to dribble and cook up, and you know what I mean? Basically, it's exactly what the build name says, Playmaking Paint Beast. You're gonna go 6'7" on this build because you have to get that ball handling up to get the name. We're gonna max out the weight on this at 275. Then we're gonna raise up the wingspan to 89 inches. You get slash, rim, and glass takeover, and as you can see, you have created the Playmaking Paint Beast on 2K22. Back to the new build names on 2K22, the two-way slashing 4. Back in 21 current gen, I believe a lot of people started to make these slashing 4 builds, but you couldn't get the name two-way slashing 4. Well, in 22, you can get two-way basically in front of all of these cool build names that we've seen in the past. So this is a brand new name with the two-way slashing 4. This build's decent. Honestly, not my cup of tea just because we don't have the shooting up at all in this version. There might be another version. I think if you look on YouTube, you might be able to find it. Another version of the two-way slashing 4 where the shooting is upgraded. But as you can see, this version of the build is just a pure inside build, maxing out the weight, putting the wingspan up just a little bit. If you put it up too much, I believe it changes the build name, so that's why we only went 85 inches. You still get the choice of play take, which is pretty cool, I guess. And as you can see, you've created the two-way slashing 4. Next up, we have the rugged Playmaker. In the past, I believe we've had rugged wings. I don't know if we've ever had a rugged Playmaker, and this build actually uses one of the new pie charts they added in. You're going to use the more defense than finishing pie chart. There's a bunch of new pie charts down there at the bottom that I feel like a lot of people haven't experimented with, and there's probably even more rare build names using those pie charts that we haven't discovered yet. So maybe in a couple months we'll find some more builds and I'll make like a part 2 to this video. But this build is actually pretty cool. I mean, you do have the shooting up. It is low shooting attributes, but like I said, on this game you could shoot with any 3-point rating as long as you know how to time your shot and whatnot, get your hot spots, all those little things, get your badges. You'll be able to shoot no problem. This game is extremely easy when it comes to shooting, especially wide open catch and shoot shots. The build has pretty good defense with 19 defensive badges, 12 playmaking, 11 finishing. Decent badge spread as you can see, but it's more about getting the rare name of rugged Playmaker. Leave a default wingspan, you get lock, slash, and play take. We'll choose lock, it doesn't matter, you can pick whatever you want. Doesn't change the build name, and as you can see, you've created the rugged Playmaker on 2K22. Now this next one, the two-way balance score, is a little more complicated than the other ones, and it's a really cool build name, and it's a really good build actually. Alright, so you're gonna need to go over to features, go into settings, and you're gonna need to change this to the metric system. Instead of imperial system, change it to the metric system. You need to do this, that way you can get the build name and still get pro dribble moves. You can make this with the imperial system, but you won't get the pro dribble moves because you need that in-between threshold of, I think it's like between 6'5 and 6'6 or 6'4 and 6'5, one of those two. You need the metric system to be able to do it, okay? Now, I'm sure you guys have seen on YouTube the balance score. This is the two-way balance score, but I'm sure you've seen versions of the balance score that are actually good, that can slash, handle the ball, shoot the three, decent defense. But this is an even cooler name because you're adding two-way in front of the balance score, and you still have a very viable build. As you can see, at 99 overall, you're going to have contact dunks, you're going to have all the pro dribble moves that you're going to want with the ball handle rating that you're going to get, and then you're going to have interior, perimeter, lateral, and a little bit of block. As you're going to see, you're going to put this down to 1.98 meters. You're going to put the weight all the way up to 119 kg. You're going to leave the wingspan at 209 centimeters. I'm sorry, it's so weird reading the metric system. And then you even get the choice of post takeover. And as you can see, two-way balance score, really rare, unique, and pretty good build. The next build we have is the skilled glass cleaner. And I want to say we've seen this build name before, but only on next gen, I think. I don't think we've ever seen this on current gen, but in 2K22, you can create this on current gen, and you're going to get Hall of Fame defense and Hall of Fame playmaking on this build on top of the ability to shoot. So it's a pretty cool build, and a lot of people will not expect it with this pie chart. A lot of times you see glass cleaner on this game, you're thinking it's going to be green-red. I believe that's what most of the glass cleaners are. That's what they call most of the popping center builds. Well, this is going to get Hall of Fame defense, but Hall of Fame playmaking, and you can still pop on it. Obviously, the shooting rating is a little bit lower, so you're going to need to be a little bit more precise with your shot timing, but you certainly can still shoot on this build, especially once we lower the height like you see down to 6'7". When you hit 99 overall, you're gonna have a mid-60s three-point rating, and that's more than enough to shoot on this game, especially when you're shooting wide open. But this is gonna be called the skilled glass cleaner. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. You even get shot take on this build. It's just very unique names, very unique takeovers, really, really cool builds, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new on that road to 1 million subs. Appreciate y'all. I'm out. Peace.